Welcome. Welcome to another segment of the Seek Elevation Experience with yours truly, Attorney Alakisha. I am an attorney, but I'm not your attorney. Anytime I may talk about any information that involves legal topics, I'm giving you information for educational purposes, not for legal advice. I will have to know your particular situation in order to give you legal advice. So it's strictly for educational purposes to empower you to dig deeper and to learn more. But right here is where real issues, real people, and real conversations take center stage because we know change doesn't happen in silence. Intentional speaking can effectuate change. So whether we're looking at conversations that's dealing with sports, entertainment, to business or community, our main focus, our core unifying focus is to elevate voices that need to be heard. But my aim is not to just talk, it is to empower, to inspire, and to definitely challenge the status quo. So we show up as our authentic self and we share the information that needs to be shared. I'm excited about the guest that we will have on today. Um, I'm looking forward to this conversation. It's an amazing guest. I met her a while back uh, with a powerful group that actually caught my attraction and attention to the group through this guest. Although, listen, the group is dynamic from top to bottom, from the leader and everybody that leads in that group is absolutely amazing. But this particular person definitely I'm appreciative of and caught my attention greatly. So this segment, though, the topic that our guests will be talking about, I want to hopefully peel back just the layers of traditional success or what we think success is from a traditional manner. And I want us to reveal what's possibly always missing. All right, alignment. Alignment. It's not just about doing more. So, what is it about? And that's what I want us to talk about. And please chime in. If you so happen to see this segment after it's live, please feel free to leave comments. You can engage as well. And this person is a dynamic speaker. So if, and I know you will, hear anything that pierces you, you see the aura and the energy, contact their team and see how this person can show up for you as well. So, yes, by the end of this segment, I just want us to be inspired. I want us to shift our mindset. And the theme has been the same throughout this season. No matter who I had on here as a guest or what we talked about, the theme has been the same. I want us to go from just surviving to actually thriving. And what time to do it more now than ever. This is time for us to definitely reclaim, our true self, because that is the most powerful strategy. We talk about a lot of strategies in life, and we talk about a lot of strategies in business. Reclaiming our true self is the most powerful strategy. You know the saying where they said, I reclaim my time. Well, reclaim your true self. I read a post on LinkedIn and I was trying to find it before the segment started and I cannot find it. And I thought that if you liked it, like I know it works like that on IG and Facebook. If you like something or you comment, you can follow your activity. But it was on LinkedIn and I liked it, but I cannot find it. I don't see anywhere where it allows me to find something I liked. I did see where I can find what I commented on or what I posted, but I can't find what I liked. If you know what that is, let me know. But what I'm going to do later is I'm going to find that post and I'm going to share it under the comments. But when I'm talking about reclaiming yourself, it was a dynamic post because This woman that posted talked about, and it's a very relevant and rampant topic right now because of layoffs, especially for women, in particular Black women. But this was someone who held a high position at a company, and her post was about as she was packing up her office, clearing everything out. One of her colleagues came into the office and said, we would like for you to share with us that framework that you created. It was a framework for something that they needed to elevate in. We need you to share that framework with us before you leave. And then she asked him, she said, oh, you mean the framework that when we had our board meeting that I shared and it was dismissed, the framework that wasn't looked at as, good enough. And she went on and on about all the negative things that was spewed on her about this particular framework that her colleague was asking for. And he responded by saying, yes, but leadership had a change in thought in mind. Like we're in a different place now than where we were then. And that framework will be very helpful. And so we will like that framework. And she said, okay, sure, I will give you the framework, but it's going to be $5,000 per day under a consultation fee in order to share that framework with you, explain the framework. He said, oh, no. He was like, you created that framework while you worked with this company. So that is our intellectual property. You created it as an employee. She said, that's true. But if you look at the contract that I signed 3 years ago with HR, this particular framework that I was developing, I put that I can maintain and retain the rights of the intellectual property for this framework. So that contract was signed 3 years ago. His mouth dropped, floored. So she said, if you would like the framework, the information that I built, it would be a $5,000 consultation fee per day, and the minimum engagement will be 30 days. Power move. So as we focus on some things that are not working out, we have to really, when we're talking about going from surviving to thriving, like just talking about and becoming victims of what's happening, we have to figure out where that lining is for us to become victors. And so, yes, she could have said, laid off another woman, another Black woman, but she realized in the moment, I did something to position myself. So we have to keep thinking about when we make decisions, are we making decisions to position ourselves to be powerful or powerless? Are we reclaiming our true self? So these individuals that's getting laid off, you may have powerful intellectual property in what you're doing. Maybe we need to rethink things as you are getting hired, especially if you're hired in a position of creating. Then you need to, if you can't negotiate salary or part of salary, sometimes give up that inch of salary to go ahead and keep something like intellectual property, because you never know what may happen. So that put her in a great position. And she said, that colleague continued to reach out to her. He would shoot her a message and say, hey, can I pick your brain about so-and-so? And she said, sure. The pick your brain consultation costs $500 an hour. And I just thought her whole story, and I just paraphrased it. I need to find it so you can read through the whole thing, follow this person. She's also helping individuals, especially in corporate America, helping them, rethink their mindset and to position themselves as well. But that is very important. And so I thought that tied into what we're going to talk about tonight, just talking about just rethinking what success is, just going from surviving to thriving. Like it's the smallest things that we're overlooking because we're consumed by what we think are big things. All right, so our guest is on. I just had to share that story with you to just set up our energy for tonight. And I'm going to introduce my guest now and then bring my guest on the stage. And honestly, my guest really doesn't need an introduction. But, for some of you, where my guest may be new, I'll give you that, honors. So My guest, my wonderful guest that I am so thrilled, honored, humble, and excited to have on tonight is TES. TES Speaks. TES is a powerhouse international speaker, award-winning presenter, transformational orator, motivator, and she is the visionary founder of TES Speaks. And it's not just a moment. TES Speaks is a transformational movement. It is reshaping how leaders and entrepreneurs define success and embodies purpose. She has ignited stages across the US, Mexico, the Dominican Republic, with South Africa on the horizon. You see what I'm saying? Not just keeping the message isolated, but amplifying a global message that's centered on mental wellness, identity alignment, and next level leadership. I'm going to repeat this again because these are three things that we need to really take in: mental wellness, identity alignment, and next level leadership. We can't have the latter without looking at those former two. And all of it is rooted in purpose. But TES isn't just someone who's speaking. TES has experience, personal. After battling burnout herself and disconnection behind the mask, and we know what that means. We wear a lot of masks. Oh, this is October, right? And we're in October. What happens? What happens in October? We put masks on, but we don't just do it on a 31st. We do it 365 in so many areas. But after battling the disconnection behind the mask, TES made a radical discovery. Alignment. That's the real flex, not just achievement. Alignment is the real flex. It's the real flex because everything else that comes after alignment is achievement. And that shift alone lit a fire in her to help others break free. A fire that she was able to spark out and catch on to other people so they too could break free from survival mode and step into clarity, courage, and confidence. We need that right now. So through her work as an educational consultant, she also empowers schools. We know that is important with sustainable leadership and well-being frameworks. She curates a thriving global community of high-impact leaders. And how does she do this other than just grazing the stage, like I just talked to you about, gracing the stage? She offers coaching and courses for professionals, entrepreneurs, and you already know where I come from. I tell you who are entrepreneurs, right? Entrepreneurs are business owners, but entrepreneurs are also entertainers, athletes. Entrepreneurs is a broad word. If we're stepping out to do something for ourselves, from ourselves, you are an entrepreneur. And you have to be ready to elevate. And hopefully you walk away today understanding ready to elevate without burning out. So we're going to bring TES on, and we're going to talk about blending discipline with self-care, which she does too. The word is she loves yoga. She loves running. I watch them videos where she'll talk to you and she's doing a workout. So we already connected there. You know, I'm a runner. I'm a track star. I believe running now for lifestyle. So she really leads by example and literally, not just figuratively, walking in power and helping others do the same. So with no further ado, I am going to bring TES on the stage. Hello.
Lakeisha, wow. My goodness. Mm-mm-mm. I'm humbled. Humble, Lakeisha. I have never had an introduction, and I mean it. I'm a very genuine person. That introduction, you sat me down. I was taking notes. I was like, I did that. It was just the way you explained it, because I think I don't, that introduction was just so heartfelt. I appreciate you. I mean, your audience is so thankful to have somebody like you. Like, thank you so much.
And I'm thankful for you. And I
Yeah.
meant everything I said.
Mhm.
And I'm sure you felt just even the connection from when we met. I
Yeah.
love your aura. I love your energy.
Mhm.
And I love the power that exudes from you. But such power comes from experiences. And that's why I delivered that introduction, because couldn't do it any less. No other way.
Mm.
Because one experience to other experience, I get it.
Mm.
So even with my introduction, when I have guests on, I always say, from your own words, what is TES about? Like, tell the world from your own words, what do you want the viewers, the listeners to hear about you?
The first word that comes to my mind, because you already did a great job explaining all of the accolades, I would like to say that I am a real leader. And being a real leader, I have to be honest with myself daily on what's working and what's not working. Lakeisha, I had to go on a run this morning just to clear my mind and get back in alignment. I felt like I was just like, so I would like to say I am an authentic person first. I'm huge on family. I'm really big on community. That's how we met. I don't play about me. I don't play about
Yes.
my family. I don't play about my community. I don't. I'm like, wait a minute. I literally was just on a call earlier about my community. I'm like, wait a minute. Y'all said, so I don't, I take what I do very seriously. And with a nice pride, a pride that is going to spread throughout to reignite purpose in everybody. You know about the community that we have. These people are in
Absolutely.
their second life, they're in their third life. They're like, listen, empty nesters. They're like, listen, my kids are gone. I'm speaking now, or I'm just now in college. All these different kind of people, and I make sure I can just see a light spark in people's eyes when we do what we do. So I know that I'm a living example, my friends, of everything I've been put through the fire. And so with that, that's what makes me a real leader, a person full of authenticity. And when I say that, I'm not saying that like, oh yeah, I'm authentic, y'all. It hurts being authentic. It is tough
Yes.
being real because, like she said, 365. A lot of people, you look to the left and your right, are not doing that, and so that makes it very hard to exist in a world that doesn't reclaim your power, that has this warped view on success. And so that's what people like me come in. I let people know that, listen, baby, you're not broken. And if all we can pick up the pieces and we can get you back in alignment and you can go out and make impact in the world. So that's what I do, Lakeisha.
Absolutely. I love that you said, because you're right. You are a continual living example. Like you said,
Today.
today alone, I had to get up, go on a run, get out there, and get back in alignment. I love that you brought that up, because as we're talking about these words, and sometimes you have so many people throwing words around that they just get so watered down, and people don't even really know, what does that mean? Is it just a cliche thing? So to live it is exactly what you said. It's a continuum. Alignment means you can get misaligned and you have to realign, but you have to know that that is the goal. So I love that you shared that as a leader,
Oh,
that was authentic within itself. That you shared, listen, something may have thrown me off. Get out there and do what you need to do to shift right back on. That is beautiful. So I want to get into a couple of questions, and then we're just going to go wherever
okay.
our conversation leads us, based on the questions that we'll just start from. So let's just back up a little bit, because This is what I believe, especially as someone that serves on different spaces and different places. Our story begins with us. Whatever we decide to do, how we do it is usually shaped while we're taking one step after another. But what we actually land on starts from something in us. And again, that we experience. So bring us back a little bit before we get to this authentic leader right now. Let's go back.
Okay.
TES, going back when you didn't even understand what alignment was. You didn't understand what reclaiming self or leading with self. What did that look like and the different things you were doing?
The first word that comes to my mind when you spoke was a crab, essentially. I was speaking to one of my clients. I was like, how do you feel? And she used this analogy, so I'm going to share it here. She's like, a crab, right? You're just like in the water. It doesn't matter where the water goes. You're just going to float. If it goes this way, you're going to get pulled that way. And so for me, I feel like before I knew what alignment was, before I redefined success for myself, I like to also give the analogy of if we are on a train, like we're on a train, I feel like I left myself behind. Like I got off too soon and I was still on the train. Like my purpose was on the train, but I got off a little early and now I'm just like waiting for that train to come back. And so I just felt lost. I felt misguided. I felt like I was trying to get on everybody else's path and nothing was working, Alikisha.
Wow.
So many different businesses I started, so many different businesses I had to sell just to get in alignment. Because I'm like, wait, that person made a lot of money doing this, but I'm not. So I think that was really big for me before I understood what alignment was, is understanding how to create my own. How do I need to find my identity for a long time. And I've worked in corporate America for 10 plus years. I was always the only Black female. I was always the only person, the LGBTQ person that was least open about it. To where I remember I started wearing polos, walking around wearing polos. I didn't look good, Lakeisha. I was so trying to figure out what I was doing. It was so badly. I look nice, but I look back, I'm like, why did I have on that polo? So it's just, I was trying to be something. I was trying to just emulate others. And I think that's a great thing. That's what kids do, when
right.
You grow up, you try to figure out. But I was doing that like at 20 and 30, just trying to figure out who I am, just putting on this person mask, putting on that person mask. And it led to a version of success that always had a ceiling. Always had a ceiling. Like I would get a little bit, so I'll get a dopamine rush, but then there will always be a ceiling. And I'll see these people still elevating in life. And I'm just like, why am I plateau? So the word crab, plateau, and just and putting on other people's identities, right? I did not know my own identity before I really pretty much had to hit rock bottom. I remember at the age of 19, I was getting in a lot of trouble. I was angry. Unfortunately, I lost my aunt, and I was just angry at the world, right? And I remember seeing my mom. I remember seeing some tears fall down her. It's like I just had to hit this place of, I love Louis Farrakhan. He always says, the depths down show the height up. And so I just had to literally hit a place to just understand, okay, listen, Tess, if you can get this low, I can only imagine how high you can go. So that's where I was before I decided to redefine success for myself.
And that's where a lot of people have been, and a lot of people are. Exactly what you're saying. In our road of discovery, on our journey, because we don't have the answers, a lot of times we look at other people and say, that must be the answer, right? Because it's connected to something that we're seeing externally that we may want internally, right? So whatever from financial freedom or riches or notoriety, whatever symbolic things are there, we'll see that and say, okay, well, I don't know the answers, but I do see the result in other people. So maybe if I try that mask, maybe if I try that uniform, I'll get what I want. And to your point, like you said, it wasn't a fit, but it was deep how you used the analogy. It was like being on a train and an essence of you, an expression of you got off but the other essence of expression still was on. That's deep. I visually see that.
Mm.
And to visually see that, I can visually feel that. I think
Mhm.
because when we talk about a train, we always bring up a train. We talk about how things are moving just
Mhm.
chaotically or we can't grasp it. So to
Mhm.
talk about how one part of you was left on the train, I see something just moving fast like a train, another part like, whoa,
Mhm.
where are you going? But
Mhm.
in all of that, you eventually start finding some connection. And all of those things do lead us to our voice and ourself. And that's why I want people to hear that as you found it, you knew. You may not have knew what to say, but you knew when you this don't feel right. And I'm the only one doing this, but I'm gonna keep trying to put these things on,
Yeah.
but it doesn't feel right. So start talking about how when you knew these things didn't feel right,
Yeah.
how you when you started to see the shift of, okay, I'm starting to understand and come into my alignment, my voice, and what makes me feel good.
Most definitely. I had to be honest with myself. The first thing I did, I had to slow down. And Lakeisha, I was going way too fast in the wrong direction. And going way too fast in the right direction sometimes is still like a little bit to hold on. Even in the car, you going fast. I mean, come on now. And so I had to slow down. Lakeisha, I was just on this, I gotta get it, I gotta get it. And this was many years ago. So I know now in 2025, we're in this, TikTok era where everything's fast. Everything's fast. So now our mind's just like fast, fast, fast. But
Right.
I had to slow down and get real with myself. I had to realize the truth versus the facts, right? I had to literally do, was it a Venn diagram, and like just tell myself, listen, Tess, okay, cool, this must be this is a fact, but that's not necessarily the truth about who you are. So like as far as being a Black female, right, like you mentioned that great story about that wonderful Black lady who understood the importance of intellectual property. She understood her work. But if we look at the news and we look at the stats and we look at our history, Black people don't have a lot of worth. If you look at us, you go to other countries, people don't look at us to be a worth. So the difference between the two, right? I had to understand how the world identifies me and how maybe my family did, friends, needs to be completely different. If it wasn't elevating me, I had to then now create my own identity. That's how I had to slow down because I was going so fast, having the identity of the world, having the identity of what my friends thought, having the identity of what my mama wanted me to be, my dad, my grandma, my granny, my aunt, my brothers, like all of these different things. And I never took the time to slow down and figure out, what does Tess want to do? How is Tess going to show up in this world? Like one of my coaches says, you were a purpose. You were a purpose before you were even a person. So
That's
I'm like,
right.
if that was the case, okay, what was I really built here to do? So
Right.
for a long time, I spent time in IT. That helped me create I love being great on computers. I'm so thankful for that. And honestly, Lakeisha, I had to just stop hating my journey, honestly. I used to hate my journey. I used to be like, man, like I had to work in corporate. Man, I'm a Black female. Man, if I just thought there's like a level of like hate of self, I think that happens along the journey that we have to silence. I'm not going to say you're not going to hear that voice, but I had to be real about myself. Like that voice of like wishing I was different, wishing that I was born to other people, wishing I was born a different color, gender, all these different things will come at me. I'm like, wait a minute, like stop. I had to just no. I had to become the driver of my life. I remember I was going for a promotion for one of my IT jobs in the 10 years. And my partner at the time, I was sitting there, I was like, man, I'm not applying for this. Being a Black woman, I'm not gonna get it. Being a part of the LGBTQ community, they ain't gonna love me. Being the youngest one, they ain't gonna know about me. And she was like, sweetie, you named every reason why they should hire you. And so it was like I had to rewrite my narrative, Lakeisha. It's like the narrative that I kept telling myself was that I was a terrible person. I'll never be worth it. It was like a lullaby every single day until I started like rewinding and it was like, oh, you are an amazing Black woman who they need to hear your voice. Your diversity is exactly what they need. So therefore they can rejuvenate any changes that they need to make in order to get to the next level. Your youth is something that they value, because they don't want to become stagnant in the future. They want to keep up with the trends and be ahead of them. They want to create the trends. And so once I start to rewrite my narrative, slow down, it was game over. I started to realize that not everybody did that work. And no matter where I went, I was able to knock him dead no matter where I went, Lakeisha. Literally strike after strike after strike, everything. Like you said, once you know who you are, once you know what success looks like for you, no matter what you touch, no matter what you do, it's literally going to exude that excellence, and you're going to feel that change inside too.
And I'm taking notes as you go, because you're dropping gems. Like, they're just coming out. And I got to make sure I take them as you go. One, I just want to back up when you said truth versus facts. Like, there may be things, as we talk about in the legal world, there may be things right in front of you that are considered facts, a part of the story, part of this narrative, some evidence. But the truth lies in between there. And it's how we present these facts or evidence to actually dig in and discover the real truth. Because sometimes what we see is a distortion of the actual truth. So I love that you said the truth versus the facts. And then next I wrote down, because this has been a common, and this is why I want my listeners and viewers, whether here now or hearing after, to really pick up what people are putting down. Identity. That's where everything starts from. That's like, you are the springboard. So your identity is going to allow you to flip the narrative or not. To your point, you could go ahead and state facts, but you have to flip how someone is actually telling the narrative of what's in front of you. And I love that. Those three things. I just had to pause. Truth versus facts.
Yeah.
So please let us not get discouraged by all that we see on social media. And I know you see it, Tess. Everything we see on social media, there may be factual things that is presented, but those factual things does not have to determine or dictate what the truth is. There may be narratives that people are spinning, but you don't have to accept those narratives. And to do that, you have to have your identity to do that. Thank you for that. I told y'all, you got to pick it up. As someone is speaking, really listen to what is being poured out. So now you go ahead, you're shaping your identity, you're finding yourself, you're starting to see somewhat of achieving what success is. And one, I want you to define what success means to you. But after you start achieving that, right, you still felt at some point some disconnect and burnout when you were achieving this thing that you're going to tell us what was to you success. So what is success? And then talk about how you started feeling burnt out and disconnected.
Yeah, well, I got to take the success definition from my great auntie, Maya Angelou. I know you can see the resemblance. That was my great aunt. And she used to say, I'm telling you, Lakeisha, she used to tell me all the
time. Wow.
Lakeisha, she used to tell me all the time. I was like, okay. She said success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. That right there is still to this day. I have to listen to it and sit with it, right? Because I feel like some of us, we grow up and we have this picture of what our life will be like when we're 25, we're 35, we're 45, we're 55, we're 65. I thought I'd be doing this. But a lot of times you just have to ask yourself, do you like yourself? Do you love yourself? Do you like what you do? You like how you do it? And that right there helps me slow down. Because if we're comparing ourselves to social media, we see other people with the Maybachs or whatever. Meanwhile, they're in that Maybach by themselves. Meanwhile, you got a Toyota Camry and your car is booming. You got popcorn everywhere. It's some candy on the floor somewhere, but your family, it feels good and you're full. So I just want people to really shift on what success looks like for you. And I remember my first venture into entrepreneurship, I owned trucks. Lakeisha, I had an 18-wheeler on the road. I had a driver, had trucks. It was phenomenal, but I was burned out. Lakeisha, if I was on this podcast right now, my drivers would be calling me. I didn't have a help desk. They were calling me, Tess, I need some money, or Tess, The tire bowl. We got, I don't forget how many tires we got, Keisha. I tried to wipe that away from my mom. But if you think of an 18-wheeler, it's a lot of wheels. So I would get phone calls, and the wheel cost about $500 each. So I would every day, different phone calls, different things, because we would drive across country, Florida to California, Oregon to New York. So things would just happen naturally, like you're just rolling. And I was making money, Keisha. Everything was great. But I just wasn't happy. I remember going out and spending time with my significant other at the time. Hold on one second. Hold on. My mom, I remember taking a Mother's Day picture one day. I'm like, oh, hold on one second. I just never had time. It was like I was chasing, at the time, success was like having money. Success was like, oh, just financial freedom. Yeah. But I didn't like what I was doing. I didn't like who I was in that moment, because I was sort of kind of taking myself away from my family. Then I was irritable. Then I wasn't getting sleep. I would wake up. It was just this loop. And I'll never forget the first time I took the stage in Mexico. I was like, okay, listen, Tess. I already knew my phone was about to ring, because I already knew what time it was, Keisha. I know I'm in Mexico, but my phone's going to ring soon. And I was just about to take the stage. And I was like, if my phone rings before I go on stage, I know this is the last day of me being, and this is the last day. I'm no longer going to be in the trucking business, because I need to do something that's full of alignment. And I said, if my phone rings right before I go on stage, that's how I know that as soon as I get back to Atlanta, I need to make provisions to shut down that business. And my phone, lo and behold, rang. And that's when I was like, okay, cool. I knew what to do. Even to this day, Keisha, that was 10 years, almost like 8 years ago. That driver still called me because he said I was the best employer that he ever had. Because I take care of my people.
Right.
But that helped me right there, right? Like for anybody looking for a line, people always ask me, like, Tess, how do you know when to stop something? How do you know when to get back into alignment? When it starts to conflict, right? Like with everything that you're doing, it's a signal, right? We're looking for these signals. We're looking for these clues on which direction to go. And that helped me get back into alignment, because I was just like, I'm walking into my new purpose. I'm speaking life into myself on stage and other people. And here this was. And I was like, and ever since I cut that off, oh my goodness, Keisha, the growth, the impact, meeting people like you, speaking life into people, my life has never been the same in the best way possible, more than just having financial freedom. Like that's just one piece of the pie. Now, like I have that emotional well-being, that mental wellness that we talked about. Like I love how you said that identity alignment. Like at first I was identifying with just money, but I wasn't happy. I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? And then now I'm able to take the stage and have that next level leadership, like you mentioned. So I think it's a brutal honesty that happens, Keisha, slowing down, that brutal honesty of like, what's working and what's not working, like really being real. Like a lot of us, Keisha, we talk about the truth versus the facts, but some of us need to realize, what are we lying to ourselves about?
Wow.
I had to stop lying to myself, like, Tess, oh, I'm good. I could be a speaker. I could be an entrepreneur. I can do, and yeah, all that can be true. But like, are you really happy? Do you like yourself while you're doing it? Do you like what you do? So, Keisha, I just had to stop lying to myself. That was very transformational for me.
Wow. Stop lying to yourself. So sometimes we just got to even step back from what everybody else is saying, right? A lot of times we say we are where we're at, or we're not where we want to be, whatever the case may be, because of what other people are doing or saying. But Tess, you just listen. Challenge the status quo. Stop lying to yourself. Sheesh. Ain't that what they say? I had to pause on that. No, because I want us to hear that. Stop lying to yourself. And it's also stop lying to yourself when we take on other people's narrative, like you said. Stop lying to yourself by taking on somebody else's identity for you. And be truthful about your identity. So there's so many ways to even just stop lying to yourself by accepting something from someone else, but also just internally what was built inside you. Stop lying to yourself and figure out what the truth is from you, and what does that mean. Now, I want to go back to what you said. A lot of times we ask, and we do, all of us have, I'm sure, I'm willing to bet everything on this. At one point in time, we've always, all of us have asked, where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? Like, is this for me? Am I on the right journey or whatever. And you're saying pay attention to those signals. For you, you said, if this happens, I'm going to do that. Very blatant thing. What happens when people's signals are so messed up? They're missing the signals, or they're lying to themselves about the signals that were given to them. What would you say to those individuals as far as being able to get a clear signal and being truthful about the signals that are right in front of your face?
Ooh, that's great. That's great. I love that question. One thing that I do, I have to be still, Lakeisha. I have to have a day of stillness. If some people can't afford a day, they're like, it's too much, 30 minutes, an hour, even if it's in your car, even if it's I need people to just be still. And that stillness allows us to, even just now before I came here, Lakeisha, I went to go get a foot back massage. I was in there falling asleep. I was like, oh. I was like, that, it was so amazing, Lakeisha, to just, there was so much on my mind. I was literally planning my whole day as she's like rubbing my arm, I'm like, okay, cool. Planning my neck. I'm like, okay, finally she got down to my feet. I was able to, I'm like, we need to shut down. A lot of us need to just literally, just like our phones. I encourage you to shut down. Turn this thing, shut down your mind. That's going to allow us to reboot a certain software, right? Like that's something I talk about all the time, the software of the mind. That's my IT background coming in. I use it now in my mental wellness talks. The software of your mind. If you're not able to identify the bugs, you ever like try to click an app and it's not working, you ever try to type your phone on the keyboard, you're like, why is this thing not working? Same thing. If you're not getting the signals as clear as day, then we got to shut it down. We need to reboot, because it should be very smooth for you to identify any bugs, any viruses. It should be very clear as day. You know, they say that people always say keep the grass cut so you can see the snakes type thing, but just in our mind, we got to keep a certain rhythm of shutting down, rebooting. That's so important. And so I do that via massages. I do that. That's why I took a run today. I woke up, my mind was racing. I'm like, it's 6 a.m. Wait a minute. It was just a lot on my mind of what I had to do today. I was like, I gotta go. So I think as soon as we start to catch ourselves in that overthinking or in those patterns of like thinking that you're not good enough, we need to do something immediately to break it. So that's even cold plunges. I love cold plunges. Like my body doesn't like it.
Oh yeah.
But like my mind does. Like we need to shock our system. Like, right, we need some type of reboot. So that's why when people, oh, y'all posting those cute gym videos, no, y'all people in there, yeah, they're getting good, looking amazing, but their mind is getting sharper. That's what you don't see. They're getting sharper in order for them to deal with the weight outside of the gym. So for anybody like, oh, I don't see the point of going to the gym or doing yoga or doing all this, it's like, sweetie, it has nothing to do with the actual act of that. It's preparing us for when the weight of the world, when the weight of our family, when the weight of just gravity, we're able to now have mental toughness as our default instead of shrinking into an identity that never belonged to us. And so I encourage people to do something to shock, to disturb, to disrupt that pattern, right? So that's why to me, silence, shutting down is that. Yoga has been great for me. Meditation, and meditation doesn't have to be anything fancy. Even just like quieting your mind, even before you sleep, just being able to think of nothingness. Right. That's going to allow you. That's that cutting the grass, so you can like literally start to open your eyes and see as clear as day. You know, just like the sky, you see sometimes it's clouds, it's overcast. Our minds can be like that. And I'm just, okay, cool. Your mind shouldn't be cloud. You should not be able to see the sun and the moon every day. Like, how can you clear? We need clear skies just as much as we need a clear mind. So I encourage people to do whatever modality is best, whatever recommended. Sometimes it's a walk. Sometimes it's talk to that best friend who is going to give you the truth that you don't want to hear. Like, that's what I encourage people to do, is to challenge yourself. That's something that I do. So that mental reboot, challenge yourself. That's going to like shake up to where when you need to hear the signal, oh, you're going to hear it loud as day, because you have literally shaken off all the debris, get all the nonsense, all the noise, all the weeds cut out, all the clouds moved out. That challenge, that shock, that reboot is going to allow you to hear and feel those signals.
I love that analogy with the IT,
Yeah.
because we'll take our time to understand and learn about the informational technology from a computer standpoint, the artificial intelligence from the artificial standpoint. But all of those things are mimicked from the creation of our being. Our mind is our information technology. We have human intelligence, which the artificial intelligence borrow from. So the same thing that we see, how to handle those glitches and those, to your point, bugs and noises, same thing we need to learn to apply to ourselves. So I love how you said to reboot, to get out the bug. If the signals are mixed up, it's because it's very noisy and it's a lot of, you know how to radio and the things make those sounds. How do you quiet that? Because behind all of the noise, the space is there. And I love you brought up meditation, but more importantly, I love that you brought up, it's not this fancy thing, because it's one of those words again too that industries have capitalized on. So people run from it. Some think is woo woo, some think is too deep, some think it's not possible. Literally, meditation and prayer is with us as beings from the beginning, whatever that means. Meditation is just the silence of, and prayer is the voicing of. So that silence of just meditating, and thoughts can come in your head, especially if we're flooded with them. Let them pass and still just stay in the silence. And that's when those other thoughts, the signals, can come through. So I love that you brought up understanding. Now I want to pick up from there, because you said your IT background, you bring it to individuals. This is part of your framework. Let's talk about how your experience and what you have done has become the foundation, right? Become the foundation for TES Speak, where you do help individuals and share these messages and teachings around the world. So what does that framework look like, and how was it shaped from your journey?
Most definitely. I think one thing people watching need to understand is you got to use everything. Everything, every experience that you have been through is literally a screwdriver for something, a hammer for something, a nail for something that you're building now. When I was in high school, I learned how to video edit. I didn't know Instagram was ever going to be a thing then. Now I'm able to do reels. And so that's really cool. Same thing with IT. I used to go, this motherboard, this RAM, this OS system, all the words, the code, Python, all this stuff. And now I'm able to use ChatGPT in a way. I'm able to run my community and courses in a way. I'm able to communicate to anybody on my team in a way that makes sense, because people respect you when you understand what's going on. And so that has helped me a ton. I know with the framework, it comes from my book, Success Over Suicide. And that's literally where I redefine success in order to transform your life. And I talk about the importance of the software of your mind, right? Like if our body is our hardware, that means our mind is our software. So that's why we have to literally be aware of those reboots, understanding. And even with that understanding is, I love how you mentioned earlier, just if you can see those thoughts, right? And I was reading Dr. Nikisha Hammond, shout out to Nikisha Hammond, one of her books is called Mindset Training. And one of the lines says, all your thoughts aren't real. So it's just like a lot of the times you just have to like shut down your mind, or just watch it, right? Just like a movie, just watch to see all the thoughts that you have to just gain awareness. That's a part of my framework is the awareness of self. A lot of us don't even understand who we are, where we are. I've been in yoga class, people all over the mat. You just tell their body awareness is not. We don't get taught that. It's something that has to be developed, and so awareness of self is very important. Like I'm aware of some thoughts that happen. I'm like, whoa, okay. But every thought that I have doesn't necessarily mean that that's tied to my identity. Even like I said, the stuff that's on the news, we look at it like, oh, okay,
Right.
that isn't. But same thing with your thoughts. Like you don't have to identify with all of the thoughts that come into your mind. And so with that framework, talking about awareness, right? Just being able to see who you are. And one thing that I'm working on, Lakeisha, that's also part of it after awareness, and I struggle with this, which is probably why I had to go on a run today, acceptance. I struggle with just the acceptance of things. I'm always trying to think, well, why wasn't this like this? Or Once again, slowing down. After you have that awareness of self, we have to work on that acceptance of self and others. And that's allowed me to have a positive self-image. So that's when you met me, you could feel that energy, because I work on loving myself. That's a daily thing, because if I'm not careful, I can become my own worst enemy. We've seen the movies, like the people who do fall out is because they were around each other at one point in time, and they know that. So same thing with us. We're around each other ourselves all the time. And so acceptance of self is very important. And then at that point, what I talk about is creating. I think it's so important to create, Alakeisha, in some type of way or form. If it's teaching, if it's creating, if it's dance, some type of movement. I need people to express more, right? I think that's so important, to express whatever's in your mind. Like there's some things just need to just flow through you. And a lot of us are constipated because we haven't been able to literally express ourselves in a way, not just with words. If that's your thing, do it. If it's poetry, if it's painting, if it's dancing, if whatever that modality is, I just encourage people, when was the last time you did something to express yourself, where you weren't performing, where you weren't trying to impress nobody, but where it was therapy for you and you. Like that's what's so important to me. Like you and you, like you got your awareness, now you working on your acceptance. Now let's create. And I feel like once people are on that framework, once people are on that rotation, you'll be surprised at some of the things that you start to do. Because that right there, as we talk about reclaim, that is reclaiming your power, right? Because if you in the cycle of social media or the world, that's the whole cycle itself, right?
Right.
It's almost like, so it's like create your own news cycle and just watch what happens when you have that awareness, acceptance, and you start creating.
I want to go back to, if you have it in front of you too, you can show it. I want to go back to the book. Where can individuals get it? What inspired you to write that book? How does it help individuals? What was your intention behind writing it, and how to help individuals? Please share. Let them know where to get it from. Listen.
No, first of all, thank you so much for bringing it back to that. Yeah, the book is Success Over Suicide. It's literally on my Amazon. You can get it on Amazon. You can also get it on my website, TESSpeaks.com. And that book came to me because of tragedy, Alakeisha. Tragedy hit me at 19 years old. I'll never forget it. I was in school at Georgia State University. My mom told me to come home immediately. And when I got here, I knew something was wrong. Like, you just look in your mama's eyes, you could just tell something wrong. And she told me that my aunt died by suicide. And I was taken back. I was like, and that's when I started getting in trouble, because I was just angry at the world. I was just like, because it didn't make sense, Alakeisha, because my aunt had a doctorate degree. My aunt had the cars. My aunt was married. My aunt had wedding. My aunt had house. I was like, well, that's success, right, Tess? How could somebody not want to be here anymore if that was what the world deemed as success? Of course, there are a group of people who, of course, need to take medications and things of that nature. So that's a whole different topic. But when I just learned that people did not want to be here anymore. And I grew up I have a Jamaican background. So my grandmother's Jamaican, my father's Jamaican. And being from that, success to them is education.
Right.
Education, which is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But to just see how that didn't make my aunt fulfilled. I remember one of her last few years in school, she's like, yeah, I'm just doing it, just getting by. I'm like, I'd say you're not happy? I know she wanted to make my grandma proud. So like, you would think making your parents proud would just make you. I didn't see her like, and so I could just see that she was just sort of kind of adapting. Like she wasn't her identity. I don't even know if I even really met my aunt. Honestly, I don't know if she was just taking on my grandmother's identity, like being who people wanted her to be. That's one thing I talk about. Who were you before the world told you who you should be? Who? And so seeing my aunt go through that and seeing so many levels of success be reached made me take a step back and be like, Tess, hold on now. You got to redefine success for yourself, right? You got to reclaim. You got to take back your power. Because just like a crab, people can tell when you don't have it. So they try to tell you where to go. They try to move you to each and every way. And so that's why the subtitle is how to redefine success and transform your life. Because I feel like a lot of people maybe just they're just living a version of themselves that is not going to feel full. Like I want people to when people look in the mirror, I want you to like what you see. I want people to love what they see. I want people to can't wait to get to the mirror. Like, ooh, I know people who walk past the mirror, Lakeisha, just so they don't
Right.
see themselves. Oh, I can't stand looking at it. Once again, that hatred. So I'm just like, how can we stop? How can we stop that, right? And that's what I teach on, how to build more of a foundation of like self advocacy. Like that's so important. Like everything I've been through, yep, that's my narrative. Yep, not like, ooh, I'm embarrassed that happened to me. No, it's so much shame that we
Right.
let rule our life like a cloud running over our head. And it's like, no. So I just help people break out of that shame, break out of that guilt, break out of fear, Lakeisha. A lot of people let fear navigate their entire life. But for me, I let fear encourage me. Like that's why I speak on stages. Every time I speak on stage, Lakeisha, I am sweating. I'm like, why is this on my heart? Why did I decide to do this? But once again, challenging yourself, y'all. We have to get so used to challenging ourselves and not being forced into a challenge. Like that's how we're always going to be somebody else. If
Mm.
we challenge ourselves intentionally, even if we don't feel like I didn't feel like running today. But I was like, listen, Tess, come on. Before the day beats you up, you come on. Come on. So now I'm like walking the day like with authority, right? We need to walk in our lives with more authority of ourselves. And so that challenge is going to help us, and redefining success is going to help us. And then that's why I rock the butterfly logo. You know, like you go from, like you always say, you go from that's just that surviving and showing up to now thriving. You walk in the room, instead of being a thermostat, you can change the room. Like you change like the aura. People, instead of people sitting like this, they sit up when you come into the room, because like, what
Right.
are we doing? We're not here for a long time. So that's the premise of the book, Success Over Suicide, Redefining Success and Transforming Your Life, where I do talk about that mental fitness, software of the mind, and having more fun. Lakeisha, I feel like people need to have more fun. I'm really big on fun, because life is already hard enough. And so I encourage people, as they're doing the things for their body and their mind, they're learning, like I said, expression, like do something that's going to allow you to just laugh uncontrollably. Even if it's cry control, just express yourself to where you can feel the things, right? A lot of us try to suppress our feelings. And so that book is a guide on how to navigate through those feelings and come out on top. Like not just go to those dark places, but acknowledge those dark places, acknowledge when you got off at the train, and then take that story and elevate from that.
So that book one more time and where they can get it at. You mentioned
Yep.
your website and Amazon, but I want you to say it one more time.
Okay. Yep. So the book is called Success Over Suicide, and you can get it on Amazon. Just type in that title or go to TESSpeaks.com. That's TESSpeaks.com.
And so there's two things I even want to tie in there because, like you said, when you're looking at your aunt and you were judging success, right? Why would you not want to be here? This is success. And you also mentioned earlier, even when you were, you know, had some financial gain for you, you felt like, I don't know, you're asking for a sign while you are at least in a position to make money. You're still asking for a sign. Should I be doing this? Possibly to walk away from making guaranteed money to walking into starting over and making no money and have to make money. So that means we know, and we keep hearing this, but it's the conflicting narratives. To our point, we keep struggling with success is just money. Success is by how something look and how someone else is praising you by how that look. But at the same time, it conflicts with the constant things that we see when we have people that have just the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just the money and nothing else. They're struggling. You have people that have certain notoriety and they're checking out because it's that important piece that's still missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have the money to fund the mission. We're not negating that. You don't put that away. But it's funding your mission. That's the part that's meant. What's your mission? Not just to have money. If everything else is void,
Yeah.
when we have money, if everything else is void, when we achieve these accolades or these symbols that other people can praise, but it doesn't feel like it matches our identity,
Mhm.
we're still just like not having money or even having those accolades. So I love how you tie those. Well, I'm tying them together. I love how you brought them out
Yeah.
to tie together.
Yeah.
Um, we got to just stop chasing the
Yeah.
empty part of it. Go ahead. You was about to say something.
No, go ahead.
So we gotta not chase that empty part of just going for the money,
Yeah.
just going for what success looked like. And like you said, you questioned that. What in the world if you have all this, but then it helped you?
Mm.
And I believe all of that together helps you to teach
Yeah.
with clarity.
Yeah.
Speaking of fear, it helps you to teach with courage, because courage is not the absence of fear.
Right.
And I love that you keep bringing up, these are things I continue to deal with in real life. These are things I have to do. So I'm teaching with courage because I'm letting you know there's fear that's present. There's just a difference of how we let fear consume us. Is it driving us or is it draining us?
Mm.
And that's the same thing. I don't care what you do, athletes, everything. We always have that element of it's more of a motivating factor. You know, that fight or flight. Like
Oh yeah.
if we didn't have that, if we were completely numb walking around, I'll come up to a bear and I wouldn't do anything. Like, hey, Yogi, how you doing today? But that fear, that fight or flight is gonna make me say,
Yeah.
I'm going the other way. That's not who. And so it's okay for us to have it. It's for us to put our finger on the pulse to know
Mm.
that we're doing what we need to
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
So if there's any practical shift
Yeah.
that you can give any of the listeners today, anything to say, hey, this is a practical shift that you can just focus on now. Um, just start making it today. I know you're feeling stuck because sometimes people hear this and they get hyped. That's why I said you're a transformational
Yeah.
orator, because
Mhm.
motivation will get us hyped. You got people that go to these churches or wherever, and you go in, you get motivated, and then you walk out the door and say, well, I really don't have anything. It motivated
Mm.
me, but give me something, a seed. What would be a practical thing?
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I need people to declutter like yesterday. I'm decluttering. Um, I'm working on asking myself what needs to stop, because the C word that I'm going to say is going to be the game changer. That's transformational. People are in relationships. You think it's because people are this and that. The honest truth is people ain't got the capacity to love you. People don't have the capacity to learn you. But the thing is, we have to have the capacity for ourselves. So how can we have capacity if we got so much stuff? If we got so much mental strain. Like what narratives need to go? What narratives need to transform? What people need to go? What organizations do we need to no longer deal with? What routine needs to shift? So declutter. I recommend, if you don't remember anything from this podcast, ask yourself what needs to go. So therefore you create more capacity for you to increase your awareness, increase that acceptance, and have more space to create. That's the game changer, my friends. It's capacity. That's what I work with so many leaders. They've been great, but they didn't have the capacity.
Mm.
So what good is talent? What good is purpose? What good is passion if you don't have any capacity? So I'll tell you, that's something so that's why I had to get rid of the trucking business. I said I need more capacity
Mm.
to even understand how to hone it on my speaking business. How do I do that? How do I become a better coach? You got to let go of some things, my friend. I don't know what it is. I know we got a few more days until the end of the year. It don't
Hey,
gotta wait to January. You don't just you can. I mean, October. Some people look at October as almost like a very special time because it's like the leaves are falling. Same thing. We gotta look at what
mm.
needs to go. I'm telling you, it's so important. I know for me, I've been working on a few things that needs to go, and I'm so excited for next year. I'm working with more people. I've let go some people. Okay, listen, I gotta let that go, and it hurts. I'll be honest, my friend, it hurts to let go, but it's like choose your heart. Choose your heart. Do you want to stay the same and hurt, or do you want to grow towards something better? And growing just means another synonym for hurt. It's gonna hurt to grow, either way
Man.
it goes. So it's just like instead of hurting to stay the same, at least hurt and grow. And instead of just growing, glow. Right, that's what allows you to walk into a room with certain aura, and you ever just see people walk in a room. It's like, geez, you don't even hear them, but you just feel them. But the only way, because they have the capacity to accept themselves, love themselves, and elevate themselves. That's why I love that seek elevation. Like that's powerful. The only way you can seek elevation if you create more space for it. So we can't elevate unless we have space, my friends. And I leave people with that authenticity. Let me tell you something right now, because I know it's hard out here. I hate being like, oh yeah, go out into the world, it'll be fine. No, it's gonna be hard having your own identity. It's going to be tough having your own authenticity. But when I tell you, it's literally suicide when you decide to take on identity that is not yours. That's what I teach people. Suicide occurs on an emotional level and a mental level before it ever reaches a physical level.
Wow.
So that's why I'm telling people, okay, what needs to go? In yoga, we say, identify what is no longer serving you. And that is something that I'm working on, Lakeisha, to help people get to that next level of leadership, have that courage, confidence, and clarity, and for them to seek that elevation.
So real quick, because you said this, I can't let you, like you said, capacity. And there's a saying to that about, it's about the cup. You can't, if your cup is, you can't serve other people. How's it from an empty cup or how? So when you are over capacity, what end up happening is it floods all the way over, and you have nothing left and it's empty. You don't have the capacity of what you needed to fill back up to fill others back in. But a lot of that happens with, and I want your input on this, a lot of that happens with busyness versus progress. It is literally like a mantra. It's this thing to achieve, to seem so busy, because you talk about capacity. What you mean clear capacity? TES, you mean I gotta do all this stuff because people got to see me that's super busy versus actual progress. What are your thoughts on busyness versus progress or productivity?
Productivity is huge, because I know people feel like, okay, my checklist is here, because you want execution, right? You want that. But I'll challenge people with this. I heard a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company say this: everything that is urgent is not important, and everything that's important is not urgent. And so
urgent is not important, and everything that is important is not urgent. Okay.
Right. I think it's about understanding, being able to have more boundaries with yourself on what is important. I don't care if somebody's telling you this, especially with the urgency thing. That has helped me a ton. I love the quote: just because you failed to prepare, that is not making an urgency on my part.
Listen, your urgency does not become my emergency. That's one of my favorite things I say. I tell people your urgency does not become my emergency. Your lack of urgency, should I say, your lack of urgency that now becomes an urgency does not become my emergency.
You get it, because that's how we end up busy. A lot of times we already have our own list, but then somebody comes on with their list, and so now we're busy all day. Like now and every day we're just busy because somebody else comes to put their busy on us. So I think it's just so important for people to have that distinction on what's important and what's urgent. That is something that's once again to slow down. Be careful. Be careful getting rushed by other people out here, right? Some stuff is urgent, right? Like some stuff is. It's like, okay, you can feel that, but be honest with yourself. Some stuff it can wait. And I need more people to put their phone down. I need more people to be present. I've had conversations with entrepreneurs. I'm talking to them. As soon as I say something, yeah, that was dope, man. Yeah, for real. Y'all. We're not present.
We're not present.
What we think we are. Here they are. Oh, I'm checking off being at a networking event, but you're not present. That's killing us. Like it's literally not. It's taken away from who we are. So a lot of times it's being productive. We're a zombie. What's the point of being anything if you're just moving through life? Like I said, I just remember seeing her going through graduate school, getting her master's, just what's the point of it all if you're not alive? What's the point of it all if you don't know the difference between what's important and urgent? What's the point of it all if somebody else is telling you what's important versus urgent? That's why identity is so important. That's going to allow you to feel like even if you do 2 things one day, you were still productive. Right. Compared to 200 things and it was all for, we just have to be better. I feel like the one thing in order to really have true productivity that I have started doing, Lakeisha, is practical things. I do quarterly planning. So Q4 started 6 days ago. I do quarterly planning. And I meet with my team every week to say, this is what we're doing for the week. And if our goals for that week is not in line with my quarterly goals, I'm like, team, reel me back in. So therefore, when somebody comes to me with something that's urgent or important, I look at my goals and say, wait a minute now, we planned this. Sometimes there are interrupts, but I need people to first set goals for themselves, even if it's a physical goal, mental goal, financial goal, and then set weekly goals to understand, okay, every single day, am I getting closer to this goal or further away? That's what's going to determine productivity. I feel like we are allowing other people to navigate our schedules. And that's what makes us so productive. But we also feel stuck. How are you so productive and you in the same place you were in last year? So that's my question to people, like really define, take back your power, plan your life. I know you got work to do, you got the kids, but I still want you to create your own roadmap for yourself, for your success. For when you 60 and 70, you can be like, okay, God, I did that. That's what I need people to do. That's the true idea of like what productivity is. Are you working towards becoming the you that can handle the success, the happiness, the love, and the overflow that you desire? That's productivity.
Listen, a whole word, a whole word. Let us say amen. Where can individuals connect with you to see where you're speaking at next, how they get to your team, to have you speak to them or provide your services in whatever way that you do provide them? And I'm big on this. I know I have a lot of guests. I don't like to sell stuff. No, we ain't selling. We're connecting. When we're on Seek Elevation platform, what I tell my viewers, listeners, current and come to be, we always have a reason why we can't move forward. I don't know this. I don't know where to go here. I don't know. One of my intentions with going live this season was I want to now create an ecosystem of connections in the areas in which is drowning us that we keep making excuses for. Now it comes to accountability. Because when you now have it, I'm doing this because of what I've heard. I always pre-recorded just before, but because of what I'm constantly hearing, I'm gonna go live. And we're gonna connect. And you're gonna feel this person live, the emotion, everything. We're gonna connect. Now, who is it on? So where can they connect with you? On what platforms to, get whatever, or even email addresses when they get your team? How does that all work?
Most definitely. One of the best ways to contact my team and I is going to TESspeaks.com. You can literally book a free consultation if you're interested in any of our services. And the services that I do provide is keynote speaking to organizations, to leaders, to schools about the importance of emotional intelligence, mental toughness, authenticity as a leader. I also do coaching. So as far as anybody who wants to learn how to show up in a room and not shrink, I've had a few clients who were leaders of corporations. They're like, I just don't know how to pitch. I don't know how to feel comfortable. I don't feel good using my voice. I help people find their voice through my professional development coaching. And so that's TESspeaks.com. Also on Instagram, my friends. My team is always in my DMs. We're always looking to see how we can connect with people. That's how me and Lakeisha, we're like, hey, what are we doing? You can even send us a DM to be like, hey, Tess, we need to connect. And we'll send you the link to the website if need be. Those are the best ways to reach out to my team. Lakeisha, I just got to give you your flowers too. I mean, this is phenomenal. One of the best podcasts. I mean, like, I don't even know how you eat this. I don't even know podcast is the right word. Episode. I mean, this was an experience. And I am just so thankful that you brought me into this space. It just shows how much of character you have. Like, it's palatable how like rich in spirit you are. And so I'm so thankful for the people, your audience, who get to experience you, your wealth of knowledge. Like, thank you so much for sharing me with your platform.
And it's my pleasure. And with this real estate, because what I believe, like I know Malcolm X, John Coltrane, all the people way back didn't probably see the foresight that years and years later, it will be people like ourselves that go back to see speeches and listen to music and things that help, because those things that's captured, that content is real estate to help the continuum of empowerment. So my goal was identify individuals that I know need to be real estate for a war that we're going to continue to fight and make it bigger. And they need to go back and continue to hear the voices, the reasons to do whatever, but how to do it, how to connect, and for us to be accountable now.
Whew.
To show up. And so that's why I do it. So tonight, to you all, tonight was more than a conversation. Tonight was a call to confront the truth, not just facts that we've accepted, but the truths that we have ignored within ourselves. Get quiet to find out what those truths are. And TES reminded us that taking on someone else's identity, and I'm going to slow down to say what TES reminded us, taking on someone else's identity is a slow suicide. You are killing yourself because you are severing your identity. You figure that out. Taking on someone else is slow suicide. And that real success, the kind that sustains you, we're talking about, right? Because we talking about what other people said it is, but the real success starts with reclaiming yourself. We've been chasing freedom and finances and titles and applause. But the deepest freedom is identity freedom. The growth will stretch you as you try to find your identity. It will stretch you and it will hurt. Can you imagine a seed pushing through the dirt? Through the dirt? Some of it pushed through cement. I was at the track at a track, and I seen how some of that cement had like little cracks in it, but there was grass pushing up through cement and dirt. Growth will stretch you and it will hurt, but it will force you to declutter the lies you lived with and the labels you've worn. Take those off and say what you are, worn by somebody else. Because on the other side of that dirt is your power. You ever walk by and see the beautiful roses, smell the roses? That's the power of the beauty of the rose that pushed through. So challenge your stuff. Challenge yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Because understanding systems, IT, AI, all that good stuff we're talking about is one thing. But understanding your own mind, your own truth, and your own worth, that's where the shift begins. So I know this segment hit home. I'm going to stop there. Make sure you get TES book, Success Over Suicide. It is not just a read. It is a mirror. Look in it. Look in it so you can prepare and be proud. TES, I want you to end us off on that quote by Maya Angelou. What's that quote?
That quote goes, success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it.
You already heard it. So the more you know, the more you grow, the more you learn, the more you earn. But when you share, you show care. Share this episode, spread the wisdom, tag a friend, make sure we all elevate. Until next time, keep striving, keep growing, and most importantly, keep seeking elevation. See you next time. Peace and progress.